You see the average age of a police person. There's not a lot of experience there, not a lot of experience.
And as I understand it, you're pushing for all private investigators to actually go through and have some qualifications too, aren't you?
Oh yes, well that's already come about. Some of my colleagues and I got together and we assisted government in bringing about competency standards and laws that would better skill and better equip private investigators. And today, for instance, we're all fingerprinted. Well, that only recently happened.
Who makes a good private investigator?
That's a good question. A very good question.
Because you have to think like a villain to catch a villain, don't you?
You've got to have a bit of villain in you to catch a villain. So that's not to say that you had to have been a crook, but you know, tradespeople make very good investigators.
And why is that? Because they're practical?
What do you mean?
I think they're practical.
My husband's a builder.
I really do. I think they're practical. Some people... And people who see the small picture. Some people are big picture people and some people are small picture people. They see the finer detail of things. I'm a goldsmith by trade, and I suppose I was destined to become an investigator because I was always dealing with the minute facets of everything.
You must find yourself often in dangerous situations.
Yes.
Does that I mean...
I think the most dangerous situation is when you're undercover. I've just recently pulled 2 people out of an undercover operation. I had them there permanently for 2 years. And their cover wasn't blown, which was an extraordinary achievement on their part, but a lot of planning went into that operation.
That was in a corporate gig, obviously.
Yes, it was. I can't talk about it because it's very current, but the success of that operation was fantastic.
Is there an area that is particularly growing that you're called to look into?
Yes, there is. I think the corporate sector work is growing. There's a lot of people today that are expected to look after their own problems internally. I think there's something within government today that is telling corporate people that if you've got theft or internal problems, you're big enough, you've got enough money, look after it yourselves. Outsource that to a private investigation company and let them get the evidence.
Can you give us a typical example of?
Yeah, recently I had a corporate client. They were a printing company. They ran for 20 hours continuously. But the nighttime production was way down, way down, and they couldn't understand why it was down. So there were some grave suspicions that they might have been manipulating the time clocks and perhaps not turning up to work. So we applied for a warrant under the Workplace Surveillance Act and we installed hidden cameras. And surprisingly, we found that each of the 5 persons that were working on the night shift had duplicated one another's swipe cards.
Oh,
and so, and the video is extraordinary. They'd each open their wallet up with 5 cards and wait. You know, they'd swipe one and then they'd just wait around for a few moments, then swipe another one, and there was only one fellow working on each night shift.
Oh, and he didn't.
And he was running around like a mad person, trying to get all the machinery going and so forth.
Look, I want to ask you about shows in the US. There's one called Cheaters, and there's another one called Dog, the Bounty Hunter. How much damage do those? I mean, I'm glued to Dog, the Bounty Hunter.
And his wife.
And his wife.
I'm cringing.
He's much tougher than Dog, can I say?
Yeah.
I mean,
thank heaven we don't have bounty hunters in Australia because this is all about bail bonding.
Yeah, but is that a good thing? I mean, people like Dog, the Bounty Hunter, reckon that they do a great service to the public because they're tracking down these bail jumpers.
Well, they certainly are tracking down people that are probably reoffending, and I see that as a good thing. I don't necessarily agree with the way they go about things, and I don't think that it enhances my profession at all to see shows like that, particularly Cheaters. I was asked to actually take part in an Australian production, really modelled around Cheaters, and
which basically confronts the cheater and the partner
in the act. And it's pretty tacky stuff. I don't think we really need to see that. I don't think it serves any great purpose.
What would be the most difficult aspect of your job? I suppose often you have to deliver bad news.
Yes. Well, there's a box of tissues that sits on my desk and it's not there for me to cry over the weekly takings. It's there for me to hand out to people that come in because everyone that comes to me has a problem. No one comes to me with a great story. They all come to me with a problem and I've got to solve their problems. And you know, most people, 98% of people that come to us are right about their suspicions.
Yes.
Are they?
Whether yes, 98%. They know it. By the time they agonise enough to come to a private investigator and talk about their most personal things, about problems in their lives, they already know it. They've agonised over it for so long. They just don't have the proof.
So when you give them that bad news, I mean, gosh, you'd want to be very careful in the way you deliver it because, I mean, they could go and do anything, couldn't they?
And it's a very good point. I've had people, I had one man actually, I was showing him some video of his wife having an affair with somebody else, and he put his fist through the television set in my office, and I had no idea he was going to do this. He was calm, he appeared calm, he just totally lost control.
Pushed to the extreme.
Yeah, and it was, there are real problems there, and I've asked the courts to give private investigators access to apprehended violence orders, restraining orders and stalking orders, because when somebody comes into me, I don't know that they're not a stalker, but I get them to sign a contract, and the contract has a stat dec in it, and the stat dec says that they are not subject of one of those orders, nor have they ever been.
OK, so has there ever been an occasion where you have begun an investigation and then you've actually believed that that person was doing something?
There are many investigations I don't take on. I see the glazed look in their faces. First base is that contract. If they don't sign the contract, I don't move forward.
Yeah. Well, what are the tricks of the trade? What are the implements of the trade that you'd never be without? What's your most important item?
Coffee?
The most important item for a private investigator is to be able to see with their ears, hear with their eyes and feel with their stomach. All the gadgets in the world will not make you a good investigator. Seeing with your ears is watching, listening to people, what they're telling you, and then looking at the body language and so forth. Feeling with your stomach is intuitiveness. You've got to go with your intuitiveness. Yeah. Common sense, those two words, are the greatest contradiction of all time. Sense is not common. I don't believe you can teach it to somebody. You can teach them a whole lot of skills and you can give them a whole lot of gadgets, but nothing beats, being able to see with your ears and hear with your eyes and feel with your stomach. Yeah.
All right, look, just before we go, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, I'm a bit obsessed with Dog, the bounty hunter.
I don't have any video.
Do you have a nickname that you work under? Like Dog?
No, my name being Mallard, I've always been known as the Duck.
Not quite the same.
No. Thanks, Duck. It's lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thanks very much. All right, we've got an arresting amount of 9am still to come after this.